Hello and welcome to another Dragonstorm Studios video. Today, we are returning to portraiture and following up on a promise made during the Sir Ian McKellan video to draw Sir Patrick Stewart. Perhaps best known for playing Jean-Luc Picard on Star Trek The Next Generation, I know him also in performances such as Shakespeare's The Tempest, Macbeth, and Othello. I also rewatched the 1981 version of Excalibur a few months ago, and I'd forgotten that he had a role in it. And of course, I loved his performance as Gurney Halleck in the 1984 Dune adaptation. He has also had memorable cameos in Robin Hood, Men in Tights, and of course, he is Professor X from the X-Men in the past 2 decades. His voice is instantly recognizable, as heard in such films as The Prince of Egypt and Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind, where he was a voice actor. But his presence on stage and on screen is undeniable, especially in the Star Trek films, where he elevates the performance of all of those around him. Sir Patrick Stewart will always be Captain Jean-Luc Picard for me, as I grew up watching Star Trek The Next Generation on weekends, which kind of became a family tradition. And although I waited with bated breath for ship battles or a new alien creature, I only realized much later on in life that it was the performance as Captain Picard that held my attention for a series that was more about exploration and diplomacy than conflict and monsters. At time of recording, Sir Patrick is 81 years old and was active in acting for 6 decades. In terms of peer recognition, he has been nominated for various awards in the span of his career, including Olivier, Tony, Golden Globe, Emmy, Screen Actors, and Saturn Awards. In fact, he won a Laurence Olivier Award in 1979 for his portrayal as the male lead in Antony and Cleopatra, and another in 2008 for his role in Hamlet. Sir Patrick was knighted in 2010 for his dramatic contributions by Queen Elizabeth II. So, on to the actual drawing. You can see already I've used angles, I've used a variety of techniques really to try and get all of the facial features in the right spot, noticing where the mouth ends compared to where the tear duct in the eye is, and all these little techniques really do help to get the arrangement of facial features. I'm also working on the eye here. You can see I'm using an HB pencil just for the pupil. And then for the iris, I'm going to switch over to, I think it's a 2H pencil I have here. And what I'm doing is I'm just creating some lighter tones in the iris in the lower part where the light's able to hit it more directly. It's all of this shading, especially around the eyes, that makes such a big difference. As I move toward the cheekbone here, you can just see that the entire face becomes more three-dimensional. And that goes for just about every facial feature, including the nose. The more shading you add, with reference to your picture, of course, the more accurate and realistic the image looks. And I'm already at this point thrilled with how Sir Patrick is looking. It is coming along very nicely. I'm drawing Sir Patrick as Jean-Luc Picard, since that's where I know him best in terms of media. The 5B pencil is great for the dark areas of the shoulder and epaulettes of the uniform, being very careful to work around details such as the rank insignia. But using that side of the pencil technique really makes me able to fill in areas faster. I'm switching over to a 2B pencil for the red of the officer's uniform here because it's not quite as dark, yet still gets the idea of a deep red tone. I've always found details in the ear to be really individual for every person, and that can be challenging, but looking for all of the different light and dark areas is really a great technique, again, for all of the structures in the ear and to make it look accurate. In all honesty, most people don't look at the ear too closely, but I want to try and get it as accurate a representation as possible. Switching over to my trusty blending stomp. You've seen me use this before in videos. It's just great for creating the subtle shading that you need to be able to create the facial expression and the features, just to give them that subtle yet distinctly three-dimensional look. And as I add more and more to this, you can really see Sir Patrick coming along nicely. Lips are incredibly tricky because if you make them too dark, they look as if they've got makeup on them. So being very subtle, being very light in your shading around the mouth is always worth it. I could not discuss Star Trek The Next Generation, or I mean Star Trek in general, without mentioning the Enterprise. Here I'm drawing the Enterprise D, and all of the details, I'm working off a picture, but all of those details really do matter for angles to make it look accurate, again, three-dimensionally. But what an iconic ship, what an iconic design. I put it right up there with the Millennium Falcon from Star Wars as being a recognizable ship from science fiction. And as I add those details in here, just areas of the saucer section, it will create this wonderful scene in the background, because of course we want Sir Patrick to have an environment to be in. And here we have the final version. I'm using some acrylic paint and a skewer to create the star effect, but so happy with how this picture turned out. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Maybe it'll inspire you to draw your own heroes from childhood. Thank you so much for watching, and have a fantastic day.